So this video was filmed around 6 months ago and is just now being released because of multiple delays, but it's important that it is coming out, so yeah. Enjoy the video. 2015 was a very interesting year for Apple with the release of the 12-inch MacBook with only one USB-C port and releases like the iPad Pro 12.9-inch with that beautiful Retina display. But how do these products stack up in 2025? Keep watching to find out. So the rules for this challenge are I cannot use any modern Apple devices except for as cameras. So for example, I can still use my iPhone 11 Pro as a camera. I just can't use it as anything else. Okay, so the last thing I want to say before the video starts is I did use OpenCore on this laptop to upgrade it to Sonoma for the purposes of this video. So let's get started. Let's start with the iPhone 6s. Released in 2015, the 6s featured the dual-core Apple A9 chip with 2GB of RAM. It got updates to iOS 15, which was released in 2021. Although it still receives security updates, which don't have a planned end date, just using the OS, the device seems to show its age. Scrolling through the menus, you can see the device lagging, trying to keep up. Launching into Asphalt 8, you can see that it's not nearly as good as the iPhone 7 Plus, for example. The battery performance is, in a word, awful. But please note that I am using the original battery and that you can buy a new battery relatively cheaply off of a website such as Amazon. Getting service on the device was easy, besides the fact that the phone was locked to AT&T, which I'm not going to blame the phone for because I knew that when I bought it. I brought it into the cell phone store and they successfully activated it. The phone doesn't support 5G unfortunately, so the service isn't as good as my iPhone 16. It also doesn't support eSIM, so I had to get mine converted. It still worked fine though, and was successfully able to connect. Logging into my Apple ID, all of my contacts were automatically transferred to the phone, along with my text messages. I logged into my socials like Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok, and YouTube, which all worked. Although I would like to mention that YouTube is not going to be supported on iOS 15 for much longer. But you do have to love the 2015 aesthetic of this device. Moving on to the iPad Air 2, it was definitely my favorite device to use this week. The speed, while not great, was good enough that I could watch Plex and play games such as Geometry Dash and Gyrosphere Trials. A feature I use a lot on my regular iPad is Picture-in-Picture, or PIP, which lets me watch a video while doing something else such as playing a game. The battery lasted most of the day with me only having to charge it once or twice a day. It also runs iOS 15, so app support, while still sufficient, is slowly dwindling as the years pass by. Security updates, not unlike the 6s, show no signs of stopping. The only issues I had with it are due to its aging hardware, such as lag when using picture-in-picture and video stuttering. Last but certainly not least, we have the 2015 MacBook Pro. This was the last MacBook with USB-A ports built in, and was also the last MacBook with MagSafe 2 and a glowing Apple logo. The one I got was close to the most ballin' 2015 MacBook Pro Apple sold at the time, with a 15-inch Retina display, AMD graphics, Intel Core i7 running at 2.5 GHz, and 16 GB of RAM. This was my dream laptop back when it came out, but did it live up to my expectations? Using OpenCore Legacy Patcher, I upgraded it to macOS Sonoma, which is one of my favorite modern macOS versions, and seemed like one I would be comfortable with. I installed a couple of apps including Final Cut Pro, the Microsoft Office Suite, Space Cadet Pinball, DJ2, and Minecraft 1.12. For editing in Final Cut, it was okay for basic 1080p editing, but if you tried to do something that required multiple layers of clips, it would drop frames. Minecraft was also pretty choppy when it came to performance. Using it for basic tasks like browsing the internet, it was alright. The keyboard was nice to type on, and it was fun to have a MacBook with the light up Apple logo. I installed DJ2 to see if I could mix together a song, because every DJ had one of these back in 2015. I logged into iTunes to see how the speakers sound, and they were probably fine in 2015, but compared to my 2024 MacBook Pro M4, they sounded very tinny. Even compared to my 2020 MacBook Air, they sounded mid. The port selection was nice, not having to grab a dongle every time I wanted to plug in a USB device, but I did miss being able to charge all of my devices with one cable. The only issues I had with it were me needing to use max fan control to keep the noise down. Although please note that was probably more OpenCore's fault than it was the computer's. And the battery barely holding a charge, meaning I had to use it plugged in every time I used it. I enjoyed my week with all of these devices, but it also gave me an appreciation for my modern Apple devices. Starting off, the iPad was without a doubt my favorite out of the three. In my opinion, it held up the best, still being good at doing basic tasks such as watching videos, playing games, and browsing the web. I would recommend it considering it was only $50. I also liked how good the battery held up 10 years later. The MacBook was okay and worked for most basic tasks, but once you tried to do anything more than that, it was laggy and couldn't handle it. I like the port selection, and while I see that USB-C is the future, it was nice not to have to grab a dongle just to sync my iPod to my iTunes library. The only thing I wish it had was better speakers. For $200, I don't think it was worth it, because for $100 more, I could have gotten an M1 MacBook Air, which is 100 times more powerful than this laptop is. Lastly, the iPhone 6s, which was probably the reason most of you clicked on this video. It was my least favorite out of the three, mostly because out of the three, it was the one that showed its age the most. With the battery barely being able to last more than an hour without dying, it was also very laggy when trying to open up apps such as music and texting. I understand I have to cut it some slack because it is a 10-year-old phone, but the iPhone 7 got stuck in the same operating system and was so much smoother. Also, the lack of eSIM, while being more of an inconvenience than an issue, was still annoying. The only good thing I will say is that Touch ID was super nice and Apple should bring it back. In conclusion, I paid $40 for this phone 2 years ago, so if you get a good deal on one, I think it's worth it. But if you could, I would definitely recommend stepping up to the iPhone 7 or 7 Plus, because even if there is only a 1-year difference, they are so much faster than their 6S ancestors, and shouldn't cost significantly more. In conclusion, get the iPad, don't get the MacBook, and get an iPhone 7 instead. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again in the next video. Bye!